Over the years, I've somehow gotten away with not really investing in any audio equipment beyond what I got when I first started, really, because that equipment has been good enough for most of my work. The audio quality of the VideoMic Pro and the SmartLav Plus is passable, and especially so if, like me, you develop workflows to make the most of those microphones' abilities. But that doesn't necessarily make for a smooth sailing process. I mean, I've broken my VideoMic Pro twice and had to send it to get replaced, and I've broken and bought more SmartLav Pluses than any reasonable person should. And as I've progressed in my career, I've found myself in more and more scenarios where I've needed my equipment to be more than just passable quality, where I've needed more versatility, and frankly, I've just needed equipment that I can depend on not breaking. So I think it's safe to say that I've outgrown these microphones, and the first to be replaced was the SmartLav Plus because I broke yet another one. And you read the title, you saw the thumbnail. I replaced it with the Sennheiser AVX system with an MKE2 microphone, and it has been brilliant. So why did I take the leap from a $70 microphone that plugged into my phone to an over $1,000 system? And why didn't I go for one of the options in between, like Rode's more premium Rode Link Filmmaker Kit or Sennheiser's more budget-friendly XSWD? Well, I did consider those options. But when I took a look at my use case and really what kind of a filmmaker that I am, it became clear that those weren't really a good fit for me. I'm a content creator, of course, as well as a freelancing filmmaker who mostly shoots corporate and documentary work. But really, I think when you break it down, content creation and corporate work is just documentary filmmaking in disguise. So I shoot documentaries and I work by myself most of the time, super run and gun style, mostly on location, and I rarely, actually never have a sound recordist with me, which means I need audio equipment that is quick and easy to use, has a nice and small form factor, and I really just need equipment that stays out of my way and I don't have to think about too much. I can kind of leave it be, vaguely monitor it, and trust that it will get the job done. And on top of that, I currently shoot with DSLR, though I do have plans on buying a cine camera as soon as I can justify it, but I will be shooting both on a DSLR as well as with cine cameras. So I needed a solution that would work well with both kind of camera types. And with all of those requirements, that really rounded it down to just the AVX system and nothing else really. It is truly a one-of-a-kind setup. Now, for those who haven't used a wireless lav system, it's a fairly simple setup consisting of 4 parts really. A microphone that is connected to a transmitter that transmits to the receiver that is then connected to a recorder of some sort. Obviously, I'm using my camera to film myself, but you get the gist. And it's the final connection of the receiver to the recorder that I think is really the highlight of this product. It's designed to be a wonderfully small and lightweight form factor that's meant to be mounted and connected via its built-in male XLR directly to camera. It's designed for a filmmaker, not an audio engineer. With the XLR connection, of course, it uses phantom power and automatically turns on and off with your camera, almost as if it's an extension to your camera. So as the camera operator, you don't really have to worry about the receiver, which means you just don't have to think about it. You can instead focus on getting creative shots. But even if you're shooting on a DSLR or mirrorless camera and don't have an XLR input and hence no phantom power, there's still a built-in battery. Now, it's not perfect in this use case given that the battery is tiny because it's complying with this small form factor, and because of that the battery only lasts 4 hours, which isn't enough for any kind of shooting day. But they've had a solution for that problem in the form of a micro USB port, and you can charge and use it simultaneously, which means all you need to do is just carry around a battery pack and you're sorted. Or you can buy a spare battery, but that's not what I do. The receiver is super easy to use with only 3 buttons. There's the AF out, which allows you to adjust the sensitivity levels in 10 decibel steps from 0 to -30 decibels. The red button is the on and off switch, as well as a battery level indicator when it is turned on. And finally, the pair button is for pairing. It comes paired in the box, so I've never actually used that button. It's almost entirely built of metal, except for the battery and the antenna for obvious reasons, which I'm super grateful for because they really didn't cut any corners. I mean, these little hooks here that help the battery latch in are made of metal, which means you're gonna have to go through a lot of work to break this. And that's what we should all expect from professional grade equipment. Though there is another negative to consider when shooting on DSLR, and that is this female XLR to 3.5mm channel adapter cable, which is just flimsy. It's terribly made. It doesn't feel professional at all, despite being part of a $1,000 kit. Every time I use it, I feel like I'm just a tud cable away from it breaking. And worse yet, I know Sennheiser could have done better just by looking at the MKE2 microphone and cable that came in this very kit. Speaking of the microphone though, it is amazing. It's not the default microphone for this kit, but it's definitely the one worth getting with its advanced quality and features. It's rugged, like I said, and I cannot overstate how important that is. Most of the SmartLav Pluses that I broke were because of flimsy cables. On top of that, there's a diaphragm around the capsule that protects it from sweat. It's a feature that you don't want to think about the reality of too much, but it's great to have with your microphone because you know it's gonna be safe, and like the ruggedness, it's gonna last longer. One small feature that I really love that I didn't expect to make the difference is the way that it clips on. You can clip it however you want. You can rotate it around and you can run the cable whichever way you want, this way or that way. Having this versatility is just such a subtle thing that really makes a large impact on me. And of course, the audio quality from it is just brilliant. I've been shooting with it for nearly 3 months now, and I've shot so many videos with it, and it's just been great. Judge for yourself with these following clips. And I'm going self-timer mode. So I've come here to the beach to explore that concept. I'm gonna get some pictures here because I think there's quite a few nice compositions here at night. Over here, the bokeh, the character of it all. That's quite a nice shot, actually. Oh, there's a little pulley tab. That is different. Apple really know how to make nice packaging. For me, it's been wonderful, and it's a classic omnidirectional capsule, which means it hears everything, but that's what I want from a lav mic, just general versatility. Now, onto the transmitter. It's the same fantastic all-metal build, omitting the antenna and the battery, of course. There's a power button, a pairing button, a mute switch, and a monochromatic display, which gives you the name of the device, which I'm not sure you can change, the battery level, and the reception. And as you can see, the battery is significantly larger than that of the receiver. Apparently battery life is about 10 hours, although as you can see on the display it says that the battery can last for 16 hours, so that's more than 10 hours. You can't simultaneously charge and use the transmitter at the same time, but you shouldn't really have to because of that long battery life. Now for the question of the range of this wireless kit, how far you can go before the audio starts to degrade. On Sennheiser's website, they say that in typical video application, the range is approximately 30 meters, but in direct line of sight, much more. And when I first got the microphone, together with a friend, I went to a park to figure out what exactly much more meant. And it turned out that much more ended at about 130 meters. So this is what the AVX system is like, with 130 meters between the receiver and the transmitter. And it's not really usable. Heading back towards camera at 120 meters, it is usable. I think 130 meters is really the cutoff. I don't think I've ever shot a subject who was more than maybe 50 meters away from me that was mic'd up. But I guess with this system, I can if I need to. Something to bear in mind though is that if your subject turns around and breaks that line of sight, the connection immediately cuts out and takes a while to get back. It's not until 80 meters where that connection is instantly regained when line of sight is restored. Here's what it's like at 80 meters, but the moment I turn around and kind of obstruct the line of sight, you can't really hear me, it starts to cut out. And then back again. And on this particular day, with not much between me and the camera, 40 meters was all you needed to have a perfect connection, which lines up with Sennheiser's approximate 30 meter rating. 40 meters here, we can do some turns around, some swivels. Really, with someone monitoring, as you should always have with a system of sound like this, you're doing fine. This will of course vary in different situations. When I was recording last week's video, at one point I was shooting next to a telephone exchange, and for that, if the transmitter was more than 2 meters away from the receiver, you just couldn't hear a single thing because of the amount of interference. There's another location that I've scouted out. Fortunately, it's 1.9 gigahertz connection, which means it's not as crowded. You may come across certain moments where it is, and that's why you have to monitor your audio. And if you take anything from this review, even if you don't care about the lav mic that you just watched a review of, monitor your audio. Just monitor it, and that will save you so much heartache. Just monitor your audio. But yeah, in the end, I definitely recommend this kit with the MKE2 microphone. It is absolutely brilliant. It is almost perfect for me. And I say almost perfect because it does have those few flaws, and well, nothing's ever perfect, is it? It is great though, and it deserves some credit. But yeah, that's where I end my review. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, if you got some value from it, please hit thumbs up. If you want to see more of this face talking about cameras and stuff, make sure to subscribe and click or tap on that notification bell. And yeah, feel free to join the conversation in the comments. I will see you next week with another video. That's how this works.